Maxwellton's braes are bonny, where early falls the dew. It was there that Annie Laurie gave me her promise true.
Don't know why I feel so restless. Moon is shining clear and bright. Cattle all are resting easy, but I just can't sleep tonight. Ain't no cactus in my blankets. Don't know why they feel so hard. Lest it's warbling Jim is singing Annie Laurie out on guard. Annie Laurie, wish he'd quit it. I couldn't sleep now if I tried. Makes the night seem big and lonesome, and my throat feels sore inside. How my Annie used to sing it, and it sounded good and gay. Nights I drove her home from dancing when the east was turning gray. Yes, her brow it was like the snowdrift, and her eyes like quiet streams, and her face, I still can see it, much too frequent in my dreams. And her hands were cold and trembly that night underneath the tree, when I couldn't help but tell her she was all the world to me. But her folks said I was shiftless, wild, unsettled, and they was right, for I leaned to punching cattle, and I'm at it still tonight. Heard she married young Doc Wilkins. Oh, my Lord, but that was hard. Wish that fool had quit his singing, Annie Laurie out on guard. And I just can't stop but thinking about the things that happened then, good times, and all are past me, never seem to come again. What's that? My turn? Sure, I'll come a-running, but warm me up some coffee, pard, and I'll stop that Jim from singing Annie Laurie out on guard.
It was there that Annie Laurie gave me her promise true.
Years ago, I had the opportunity to work on a couple of ranches up in Pinedale, Wyoming. Jim, you're probably getting tired of the poems. You've been sitting here for 3 days listening to all of this stuff. He could probably get up here and quote them all for us. But I wanted to share this with you. I worked on the Crossbox Ranch, and they hadn't had any power equipment on that ranch when I first began working with them. Everything had been done by horses. And the father turned the ranch over to his son, and the son brought in the power equipment. And kind of a change in dynamics took place when that happened. And this poem took a long time for it to gel and become a poem. And I like it, so you have to listen to it. So I hope you'll let me. The source of power on the ranch used to be the mighty horse. Belgian, Shire, and Clydesdale did the heavy work, of course. Adorned with hames and harness hitched to the doubletree, they saved the backs and muscle of men like you and me. We'd hook 'em to the sickle bar to mow the new-grown hay. They'd work from dawn till dusk, give their all each and every day. They'd pull the rake and push the sweep and push that plunger up the slide and pull the wagon out to feed with harness straining at their hide. They asked little of the rancher. Their needs really weren't that much. A little feed and water, treat 'em right and use a gentle touch. We'd put 'em out on Horse Creek. That was their summer range, and they'd know that it was haying time when the weather took a change. How they knew we didn't know. We never had to worry none because we knew that they would show. We'd drive down to let 'em in and never had to wait. 16 faithful, needed horses were standing at the gate. Well, things have changed this year now that Buddy runs the place. He thinks the horse is way too slow. I never knowed that we was in a race. New swathers, rakes, and balers have now replaced those working teams, and Bud's father, Carl, sheds a tear. This wasn't the future in his dreams. Well, I went out to swath the hay, and I was thinking, this is great. Then I saw 16 horses standing at the gate. They was looking kind of dazed. Seemed to wonder what was going on. They'd been there to go to work since way before the daylight's dawn. I swear they looked dejected, hurt, and with some broken pride. And something broke inside of me, and I hurt, and I just cried. I'll not forget that sullen day, nor will I forget the date when 16 horses feeling useless were left standing at the gate. Thank you. Well, they told me that the cowboy and his way of life was done. But don't you tell that to the Lammers from Harper, Oregon. Why, just a week ago, last Friday, they had Roundup Day, and Pard, they sure was doing it the old-time cowboy way. They rose way before the daylight and loaded up their steeds, grabbed a bit of breakfast chuck. That's about all a cowboy needs. Trailered hosses toward the junction and saddled up their mounts and started gathering cows and calves and making counts. By noon they had them gathered and drove them to the pen, and then the sorting started, and now they'd see who was boys and men. I tell you, Pard, cutting calf from cow ain't no easy task. To swing that gate shut fast, about all that one can ask. Chet opened that Powder River gate and stepped inside. The way he walked and moseyed told me the cowboy hadn't died. He fired up that propane flame to heat those branding rods so they could mark those cattle theirs before all men and gods. The crew now moved to the pen, some on mount and some on feet. Nick and Smoke and Mond had roped those calves, now bawling, swift and fleet. Jim would do the cutting and harvest oysters for the feed, and Kyle, Ty, and Jason had lend a hand wherever there was need. Vicky ran in with shots as each young ear was notched, and Chet's trained eye checked every brand to see that none was blotched. They'd head and hill those dogies, drag 'em close up near the fire. They worked in sweat and dust, but never seemed to tire. They moved in great precision, though no man told them how. It was obvious to me these boys understood the cow. Mid-mixed smells of blood, sweat, burning hide and hair. There was no mistaken, Pard. There was real live cowboys there. The sound of scared and bawling calves floated in the breeze as each cowboy worked on horseback or on his feet or knees. They done it like the old boys did 100 years ago. They roped and stretched and dallied. They put on quite a show. Just a day's work to them. Been done many times before, notching ears and making steers and burning brands inshore. 4 generations of cowmen completed roundup tasks. The cowboy is alive and well if anybody asks. The old ways are passed on to cowboys yet to be, and they'll protect this Western way of life for you and me. Well, they told me that the cowboy and his way of life was done. But don't you tell that to the Lammers from Harper, Oregon. There's still a lot of cowboys living life out on the range, hoping that their life on horseback will never have to change. Thank you.
Way out here, and I see winds blowing. Soon it's gonna be snowing. His mustache is froze, and so are his toes. But there's horses and cattle to feed, broken fences to be mended, bad bull to be tended. But he can't complain, it's all in the game of this cowboy life he leads. They say he's an endangered species, the last of the vanishing breed. But he will survive till the day he dies. In this cowboy life he leads. This range he rides keeps shrinking. With each day and night he's sleeping. Why, even last week he dammed up the creek, the water our stock dearly needs. We love this land we live on. We love the clean air we breathe. But most of all, we love the call of this cowboy life he leads. They say
I'm an endangered species, the last of a vanishing breed. But I will survive till the day I die. In this cowboy life I lead. They say I'm an endangered species, the last of a vanishing breed. But I will survive till the day I die. In this cowboy life I lead. For a cowboy is all I can be. Thank you very much.